Hey y'all, just another update, and I'm doing questions that were given to us back in August when we did the Q&A with the pastors. And if y'all have any questions, feel free to send them in to me, and we'll get them out as best as we can. Still got some to work on. But today's question is about prophecy. So I got a handy dandy presentation for you. I love talking about prophecy. It's been one of my favorite things to talk about in God's Word. And what's really cool is to see how it is been fulfilled already in the past. Scholars say that 85% of Bible prophecies already been fulfilled. So that only leaves 15%. So what I want to do in answering this question that one of my church family sent in to us on that day is based on current events. It certainly seems like these are the days of Noah. What is the end times timeline and where are we? So I'm going to do my best to keep this as short and succinct as possible. And I know there's going to be some questions. And I won't be able to get to everything. I am the king of rabbit trails, but I'm going to keep this short as I possibly can. So let's jump in and just kind of break down the question. First off, the days of Noah. What exactly is the days of Noah? That's something that Jesus talked about. And here's the verse it comes from in Matthew 24, 37, 41. For the coming of the Son of Man will be just like the days of Noah. For as in those days before the flood, they were eating and drinking, marrying and giving in marriage until the day that Noah entered the ark. And they did not understand until the flood came and took them all away. So will the coming of the Son of Man be? Then there will be two men in the field, one will be taken and one will be left. Two women will be grinding at the mill, one will be taken and one will be left. So several things this verse is talking about. And then just for us to understand what the days of Noah, go back and read Genesis chapter 6 on your own. But Christ's return, first of all, will be sudden, just like when it started raining. You know, they didn't even know what rain was. It never rained before. And they were just carrying on daily life, marriage, all the good things. Some were working, some were asleep until it started raining. So the people of Noah's time did, though, get to hear. Peter talks about that. Noah's preaching about what he was doing. I'm sure it was kind of crazy. But until it wasn't, until it started raining and the water started coming up. And it says that God brought the animals in. Noah and his family got in the ark, and God himself shut the door to the ark. And so the days of Noah were also, if you read Genesis 6, it was marked by increasing wickedness among evil. That man's every thought was evil. Also, too, it was marked by supernatural. And this is, I love to talk about it. This is one of the most hot topics right now is in Genesis 6, sons of God, Nephilim, all that stuff. But it's just obvious there was some demonic, or I would say fallen angel stuff going on at the time too. But the big idea there in Matthew 27 is that it's sudden. People don't, they are going about their lives and something happens that totally catches them off guard. The next part of the question is the timeline. What does the timeline look like? And I'm just going to keep this as succinct as I can. But this is the future events look like this: the rapture, then the tribulation, 7 years of tribulation, then the return of Jesus to earth, then the millennial reign, and then the new heavens and new earth. So let's break that down, okay? First off, you've got the rapture, and this can happen at any time. It's imminent, and which means that it's close. It's right here, and it's a snatching up of believers, and we meet the Lord in the air. The reason why I got snatching up is that's exactly what it means. It's the Greek word is harpazo in 1 Thessalonians 4, and it means to literally be snatched up. It's like when your mom and dad, when you were acting up, one would snatch you up and take you. It's going to be sudden, and it's going to be something that happens to you. 1 Thessalonians 4, John 14, 1 Corinthians 15, all of these talk about this event. And it is, I know it's weird to talk about, and it's preposterous, some would say, but you just see it over and over in Scripture. It is different than what we'll see in the second coming, as we'll see here in a second in the return of Jesus. But that's the rapture. It could happen at any time. It could happen at any place. So look forward to that. Second is the tribulation. Now, this is the 7-year time period that Daniel talked about in Daniel 9:24-27. It started with a peace treaty. And if you want to ask things about that, we'll come to that in a second. The Antichrist arise, the false prophet, the abomination of desolation, which marks the middle of the tribulation, the mark of the beast, 666, all that stuff happens where people can't buy or sell unless they have that mark. And of course, it's ended by what we call Armageddon, which is that final battle where Jesus comes and vanquishes his enemies. You have the return of Jesus, where it's at the end of that 7-year period, where he comes down from the clouds in glory. Matthew 24. He's on a white horse. He's coming to judge and to make war. Revelation 19 says he's got blood on him. And it's not necessarily his blood; it's the blood of his enemies. It's visible. Every eye will see him. Revelation 1:7 it says, Philippians 2, that every knee will bow and every tongue will confess that Jesus Christ is Lord, to the glory of God the Father. Those who are in heaven and those who are on earth and those who are under the earth. His feet will touch the Mount of Olives. So that's how we differentiate it from the rapture. That the rapture is sudden and it's a snatching up. He does not touch. We meet with him in the clouds in the air. We go away to be with him during the tribulation time period, and there's things that are happening there in heaven. We get our rewards. The marriage supper of the Lamb takes place there, and then we return with him, and he physically touches ground and doesn't leave. He comes and what begins the millennial reign, which is the binding of Satan, which is in Revelation 20. Satan has no ability to go around and tempt and cause the evil that he does. It's a final restoration of Israel spiritually and physically. The final rebellion of Satan at the very end. And you have the great white throne judgment, where everyone who's ever lived will, that hasn't been raised yet, will be raised, and they'll be judged. And that takes us to, at the end of that 1,000-year time period that Revelation 20 talks about, to the new heavens and new earth. And let me give you the not so good side of this first, is the lake of fire. It's the eternal abode of Satan and the Antichrist, false prophet, but it's also where people go to exist forever who did not know Jesus or resisted or turned away from him. That they're tormented day and night there, and it's eternal second death. You don't want to be in the second death. What you do want to be a part of is a new heavens and new earth, where there's no longer, this is Revelation 20 as well, and 21 and 22, excuse me. There's no longer any sea, there's no more crying, no death. All things are made new, no more night, no more uncleanness, no longer any sun. And the best part is that we get to see our Father face to face. I'm down for that. That's the joy. That is the prize, is to get to see and be with the one who made you and knows you. And we'll see the incredible lengths that he's gone to secure our place with him and our reigning with him forever. So the next part of the question is, where are we on the timeline? This really has to do it with several different factors that the Bible talks about that converge, and we call them birth pangs. Sometimes we call them prophetic trends, but there's not just one thing. There's not just one thing, such as the rise of Russia, or there's not just one thing, that there's this one guy everybody thinks is the Antichrist. That's always the thing. No, there's a bunch of them that come together of different factors. I'm just going to give you about 14 or so. There's others that kind of fall under the categories of it, but just for the sake of time, we're going to look at a few. I think the first thing we need to look at is the nation of Israel. And the people of Israel, nation of Israel, the Bible uses not just the land, the promise that God gave, but also to very specific things that got names, places of specific places in Israel, and specific things that were true about Israel that will be true again. And I know especially today, there's so much that has come. When I first started talking about prophecy, years ago, 10 years, 15 years ago, we just did not see the vitriol that we see now over Israel. And I really believe it's just another fulfilling of prophecy. And so some of these things are, yes, it's just the ancient hatred poking its head back up again. But also, too, is, yeah, you can look at some things that Israel has done. And it could be possible. One of those things that the reason why they are on their own is that everybody's turned against them because something they've done is so odious to the rest of the nations. So let's look at it. You have a war on Israel, wars because of Israel, and usually it's around the Palestinian issue. You've got the surrounding countries, Psalm 83 war. I'll talk about that second. The Magog invasion, Ezekiel 38 and 39, and of course Armageddon. The first phase is war on Israel. That's those surrounding nations that try to, as we hear, in modern stuff, that they want to take them off the map. They want to push them into the sea. You've got Psalm 83 talks about this, Obadiah, Isaiah 17 and 19, Jeremiah 49, Ezekiel 38, the rest that live securely in the nations. You've got, of course, the Palestinians, Moab, Jordan. That's Obadiah talks about that. Syria is Damascus in particular is destroyed, and Isaiah 17, which has never happened. You've got Lebanon, Philistia, which is the Gaza Strip, particularly Hamas, and of course we've had a lot about that in the news. I'll talk about that in a second. Iraq, which is ancient Assyria, Jordan, again, Moab and Ammon, Egypt, Amalek, the Hagrites in Isaiah 19, and Saudi Arabia, which is ancient Ishmael. And what I know this is a terrible map, but this is what I got. These are the nations that immediately border or are inside of the land of Israel itself. And they immediately touch Israel. So Israel will take care of them themselves. They're the ones who are going to fight the battles and defeat these. Some would say this has already gone back to 1948. And it's just a reminder of that final scenario where Zechariah 12, 2 and 3 says, I'll make Jerusalem a heavy stone or a cup of trembling or reveling, that everybody's attention is going to be turned on. Next is just wars, rumors of wars. Nation against nation, that's ethnos against ethnos, Matthew 24, verse 8, talk about. You've got the days of Lot, which is just rebellion. You've got a homosexuality that just becomes violent, that Luke 17, 22 to 37, we'll be talking about that. And I don't know how many, whenever we get to Luke 17, we're in 16 right now. You've got the days of Noah, which is just ordinary rebellion against God. But it'll include some type of demonic incarnation. More on that later. Then just birth pains. These are some other things that you see that are part of the tribulation time period. You've got the sacrificial systems reinstated in Daniel 9, 24, 27, because they're going to have to cause it to cease there in the middle of the tribulation. You've got increasing occultic and demonic activity, Revelation 12 and 13 and 16. You just see this coming. And just in my own observation, just seeing how many people that are suffering demonic attack in their own lives. And also, too, just those who are possessed by it in many different ways. You've got the war on Israel. I mentioned this briefly, but I just want to go back to it. The Magog invasion. Go read Ezekiel 38 and 39 for yourself. It's the rise of Russia and Iran. And these are ancient names for these peoples or places. Magog would be up in Russia, and Ezekiel 38 talks about them coming from the north parts. You have these other nations that I mentioned there that come from others and again converge on Israel. Just real quick, those names: Magog is Russia, Meshech, Togarmah, and Tubal, modern day Turkey, and maybe some other nations that are close to it, some would say. Persia, of course, is Iran. Cush, Sudan, Ethiopia. Put is Libya, Algeria, and Tunisia, those nations, and Gomer. Some will say Eastern Europe, and even those hints that it could be part of Ukraine. Now, just again, as I'm saying all these things are stuff we're seeing in the news. Have you not seen stuff going on in Russia? You know, it's either Russia or Israel right now, and there's a one phrase in particular in Ezekiel 39 says that there's a hook in the jaw that is placed into Magog, and he heads towards Jerusalem. So far, Russia has not done that, but look for it to happen at some point. I'll send fire upon Magog and those who inhabit the coastlands in safety. This is just disturbing because this is probably the one hint that may speak of America, some say. And I can see that because there's going to be many nations who just withdraw. And right now we are heavy. The United States is heavily involved in Israel. That will come to a stop for whatever reason at some point. Other birth pains, the rise of China, of course, the decline of the United States. Hosea 4-14 doesn't necessarily prophesy, but the nation of Israel and how they turned away from the Lord mirrors what's happened in America. We're praying for revival. We're seeing great revival happen. Just pray it continues. And of course, weapons of mass destruction, those kind of things as well. Global religion. There will arise a strong delusion that 2 Thessalonians 2 talks about. People are going to believe what's false. We'll talk about the Antichrist. He's going to be one who brings signs and wonders. That same Greek word that's used of Jesus. The exposure and destruction of Mystery Babylon, Revelation 17:18. That's just the ancient type of government that always sets itself up against God and his kingdom. And it's going to be destroyed. You've got the rise of global government. Revelation 13, the rise of Rome 2, some type of revived Roman Empire. In Daniel 2, Daniel 7, you have the global economy. And with that, of course, is the mark of the beast, and that the false prophet brings with them, that has some type of a way for people to buy or sell. Get the rise of China. So, and there's, of course, there's Armageddon, there's other things to see there as well. But just with all these, as we kind of go back through them, just maybe you see something there that makes, wow, I've seen some of these things happen in the news, and I want, what do I do with all this? And I'm just answering this one question, and there's so many things that could branch off of what's going on in our day to day. But I would go back and concentrate on one of the major things for us is a new heavens and new earth. No longer any seed, no more crying, no more death. All things are made new. No more night, no more uncleanness, no longer any sun, and we get to see the Father face to face. We need to be encouraged and comforted. That's what's, as believers, that's what we're headed for. That's always the point of Bible prophecy is, let not your heart be troubled, John 14. Comfort one another with these things, as Paul said in 1 Thessalonians 4 when he's talking about prophecy. It's for our encouragement. It's also for our comfort. He is securing a place for us. I would also say, don't believe a single word I'm saying. Study for yourself. Do your own homework. Acts 17:11, the Bible, it talks about these groups of people called the Bereans who are more excellent than the Thessalonians because they studied the scriptures for themselves to see what these things are true. Be your own self-feeder. Be a thinker. Do some grunt work. There's great stuff out there now online that you can grab. Blue Letter Bible is one thing, way to do studies and searches and help you. And I would say also to Revelation 1:3, you'll be blessed if you do this. It'll be an encouragement. Know it, nothing else like the book of Revelation or other Bible prophecy makes that kind of boast that you'll be blessed if you read it. But stay for yourself. Know the times. 1 Chronicles 12:32, that the people of Issachar, the men of Issachar, understood the times of what Israel should do. Pay attention to what's going on, but also pay attention to your scriptures through the lens of what's going on. And I would say, get ready for the King. No one knows the day or the hour. We shouldn't be setting dates. We may know the month or so, or a week or so, just because of the convergence of all these signs. We should know when the birth pangs are getting closer together. That's what birth pangs do. They get closer together and more intense. Just get ready to see your King. I can't wait to see Jesus face to face. And just the last thing I would encourage is take as many with you as you can. That's why we make disciples of Matthew 28. I'd also say too, get with God's people. If you don't have a church family, if you don't have a church to belong to, I know real cool. I like mine. Come to ours. come see us. But at the same time, get involved in a good church. Get yourself a Bible if you don't have one. Start studying on your own. Get in a small group. That's where the bread and butter, that's where the money's made, is right there in a small group. That's where you get around other people, get other brothers and sisters, and you study it for your own, and you make this what we call koinonia, the fellowship, has really happened, and you sharpen each other. So I just encourage you to take as many as you can, and continue to grow. If you got any other questions, send them in. I'd love to deal with it, and look forward to seeing you Sunday.